Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
You are listening to the Brilliance Business Show. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. Conversations with leading experts in business. And today I have a wonderful guest, Bryan Clayton. Bryan is CEO of GreenPal, described by Entrepreneur magazine as the Uber for lawn mowing. So I'm really looking forward to a conversation today. And our topic today is how to get from 0 customers to 100,000 in revenue. Bryan, welcome to the Brilliance Business Show.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
I'm really looking forward to our conversation today, Bryan. Before I get started, I just need to make a legal disclaimer that Bryan is not offering legal advice or legal assistance. So let's get started with the show. Bryan, can you share with our listeners a little bit about yourself, your business, who you are and what you do?
Yeah, certainly. My name is Bryan Clayton. I'm CEO of GreenPal. And like you mentioned, it was described by Entrepreneur magazine as the Uber for lawn mowing. So let's say you are a homeowner and you need to get your grass cut. Rather than just calling all up and down Craigslist or searching on Google, you can just jump on GreenPal, download the app, put your address in, and you'll get 5 quotes from local lawn mowing services nearby you, and you can hire them with a touch of a button. And if the lawn mowing goes good and everything is to your liking, you can just set up a schedule for the rest of the season to have your grass cut every week or every 2 weeks, and it all happens like magic in the background. So we're in year 7 of building GreenPal. My 2 co-founders and I started from scratch back in the summer of 2013. We had no users, no customers, no revenue. And we have bootstrapped the business from scratch to now over 200,000 homeowners that use the platform every week to get their grass cut, and over $20 million a year in revenue. So building this business from scratch certainly has been a learning experience. And it's my second time around building and growing a company from zero. My first business was, believe it or not, actually a landscaping business. When I was a teenager, I started cutting grass as a way to earn extra money. And I was doing that all through high school and college, and I actually grew that into a real company with over 150 people. And in 2013, sold that business to the largest landscaping company in the United States. So I went from 0 revenue to $10 million a year in revenue with that business. And now here I am doing it again with GreenPal, which is basically digitizing everything that I learned in the first business that I built.
Bryan, that's quite a success story there, because who knew there is so much money to be earned from cutting grass? But that is a great mind that you have there, Bryan. I would like to ask, how was that in the beginning, getting it all together, getting started? Because like you said, you went from 0 and then you've built it into such a big, successful business. It must have been just an idea to start with, and then you've really scaled up. What was that process like?
Yeah, great question. So getting started in any business is the hardest part. And it certainly was for me, my first and second time around. Building GreenPal, I knew that there was a problem to be solved in terms of how hard it is for someone to find a decent grass cutting service. I had seen it over and over again building my first company. People would call our office frantic, just needing somebody to come out and do a basic lawn mowing for them that day. And right about 2013, with the rise of Uber and Lyft and Airbnb, I saw what these companies were doing in terms of making just analog transactions a lot simpler and easier to do. And so the idea for GreenPal was a no-brainer for me. So I recruited 2 co-founders to get started on the project. We really believed that we were just going to build the website and just be off to the races. And as it turned out, it was a lot harder than that. We spent $180,000 with a development agency here in Nashville, Tennessee, where we live. And we launched the first version the summer of 2013, and it was absolute crickets. Matter of fact, I think at the end of the first year, we had like 22 users, and half of them were my friends and family. So we had to really get out and hustle and get the word out about this new product that we had that would allow you to hire a lawn mowing service with a touch of a button. And the only way I knew to do that at the time was just to take a page out of my former playbook, and that was to pass out door hangers and flyers all over Nashville, Tennessee. So here I am, my two co-founders and I were just running around Middle Tennessee, hanging door hangers everywhere, advertising this new service just to try to get the word out. And luckily, that wasn't a huge success, but it did get us enough people to try the product for us to kind of validate the idea that this was a good idea, that this was something that people needed. It was something that people would use and would try out. And we got just enough validation to keep pushing forward. I think even that summer I got bit by a dog a couple of times, passing out these door hangers. And so we came to learn really quick that a dog bite for every 10 customers was not a scalable user acquisition strategy. So luckily, after we got an early set of early adopting customers, we then began to study digital marketing and distribution to really understand, okay, this is how we're going to market this platform as a digital service. And here we are 7 years later, we have several thousand people a day sign up for the platform. And luckily we were able to figure out ways to digitally market the platform and not have to continue to pass out door hangers. But in the early days, that was what we had to do to get our first several hundred users to begin to get feedback and begin to make the product better and better and better.
Thank you for sharing that, Bryan. What really did stand out to me there, it is sometimes easy for people to maybe look at success, look at your business and just think, wow, he's really achieved great things, and just look at the success. And that's why I enjoyed hearing about the beginning of your journey, because sometimes people do forget that there is a lot of work in the beginning. You are relying on your friends, family and your close network to start with. And also you mentioned the investment that you did have to put in. It's so important to invest, and a lot of people don't see that side of business as well, that you do have to invest a lot of money sometimes to really get things moving. I know in my own journey, if I add up all my investments, I'm continually investing. It takes a lot of hard work and sacrifice, doesn't it, Bryan?
Absolutely. One of my favorite quotes by Mark Cuban, and he says, the least amount of money you can live on, the greater your options. And that simple quote to me kind of crystallizes a lot of different things. One is, yes, you need to be lean and mean, both in your business and personally. And what I mean by that is, in the early days and early years, you are your business. Like, your business is a scaffolding around you as a person. And so every dime that you can save personally and in the business to reinvest back in the business, simply that's just what it takes to get the flywheel going and to go from 0 to 1. Like, you're going to have to be lean and mean in those early years just to get something going, to manufacture that momentum. I remember, when we were first getting started, we had like a $10 a day food budget to live on, because every dime that my co-founders and I could save, we would pump back in the business. Matter of fact, my two co-founders worked full-time jobs and worked on GreenPal nights and weekends just as a way to kind of get started. We didn't start drawing salaries till like year 3 and 4. And so just that sheer grit and that sheer determination in those early years is kind of table stakes to get something going from scratch.
I agree with you totally, and I think it's great for people to really understand that there is so much hard work and you do have to make sacrifices, rather than just looking at someone's great success, know that they've worked hard to get there. And I would like to know, Bryan, who are your clients? Who are your customers? Who do you serve on a daily basis?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we really have two sets of users, right? We have the lawn services that rely on the platform as a way to grow and operate their business. And we have the homeowners that use the platform, use the product to hire a good, reliable lawn mowing service. So we kind of have to craft a value proposition for each of them. On the homeowner side, that was one of the things that we actually got wrong when we first launched. We thought that the target clientele that would want to use a product like ours would be higher end people, like higher end clientele that lived on the upper end of town that had, $1 million plus houses. Matter of fact, when we started passing out door hangers, those were the neighborhoods we started in. And what we came to learn just through trial and error and things not working was that actually the people that want to use a product like ours are your working class folks, people that are like dual income, that work full-time jobs, that don't necessarily have a whole lot of disposable income, but also don't have the time to do this chore. And what we do as a service is we make this service affordable for them. So we make it to where it's accessible for them to hire a lawn mowing service every 2 weeks for $30. And so they don't have to worry about this, and they don't have to worry about getting it done. As a matter of fact, it's actually cheaper just to pay a service through GreenPal to cut your grass than it is to go and buy a lawnmower and maintain it. And if you factor your time, you're making less than minimum wage mowing your own yard. So that was something that we came to learn just through trial and error, doing things wrong for a very long time. On the other side of the transaction, the lawn mowing services that use the platform to grow their business, it's usually guys and gals that are just getting started in the lawn mowing business that get the most benefit from us. Because when they are just getting started and they have 4 or 5 customers, they don't really have the systems or processes or routines in place. They're not really kind of stuck in their own ways. And so they can jump on GreenPal, plug into our platform, and really we're kind of like an entire business in a box for them. All they have to do is worry about just doing a good job cutting the lawn for their client. Everything else is handled, from getting opportunities to win new business, to scheduling, to the routing, to invoicing, to getting paid, to following up, upselling. Everything is handled in the background for them seamlessly. So they can then go from like 5 customers to 20 or 50 or 100, just depending on how hard they want to work in the business. GreenPal kind of gives them the platform and the opportunity to do that.
That's really interesting, Bryan. So what I'm understanding is you serve your clients with the service, but then you also offer the opportunity for people to come and work with you to set up their own business doing the service as well. Am I correct there?
Absolutely. We have a saying. We say we give homeowners a high five, but we give lawn service pros a hug. And by that, I mean, we offer a nice convenience for people just needing to get this chore done. But for the flip side of the transaction, for lawn service providers, we offer them a livelihood. We offer them a way to improve their standing in life, a way to get access to social mobility. And that's really why we do what we do. It's a lot of fun seeing somebody that just wants to work hard plug into some technology that you've worked hard building, and they literally improve their livelihood. They go from $10,000 a year to $100,000 a year in revenue, all because they plugged into your platform. We've got a little Facebook group that we invite all of our lawn service pros to join, and there's a few thousand people in there, and we, on a daily basis, just see people sharing stories about how they're buying new trucks, how they're buying new lawn mowing pieces of equipment, how maybe they just bought a new house or whatever. And it's because of GreenPal. It's because of the opportunity that GreenPal has given them. Sure, they're working very hard. They're the ones out there sweating in their customers' lawns every day. They're physically working very hard, but the technology we've built gives them the opportunity to work hard and be rewarded for it. And that's a lot of fun.
And as well, you mentioned a lot of people don't want the chore of mowing their lawns. I have to tell you, Bryan, when I was younger, my nan is no longer with us anymore, but she used to ask me to cut her grass for her, and it's the worst job in the world. So I can imagine you've got a lot of satisfied customers, because I know I would definitely outsource it rather than do it myself from when I was younger, knowing the hard work it is to cut a lawn. So it's a great service what you offer. I would like to know what really motivates you to jump out of bed every single morning.
I've come to learn over 20 years in business that for me, my businesses are the vehicle for my personal development. They are the thing that causes me to level up. They are like the forcing function that causes me to be better, smarter, wiser, more humble. And so that is the thing that motivates me to be in business. After I sold my first company, I kind of retired for just a little while, and I got bored, and I wanted to get back in the game. I wanted to get back in the trenches because I came to realize that if I'm not working on something that I'm proud of, that is challenging, that people are getting value from, that is growing and prospering, then I get kind of stagnant and I get kind of complacent. And so that is the thing that causes me to get out of bed every morning is, okay, what is our business doing? How is it doing? How are we doing against our objectives? And what is it can we be doing better? And constantly be moving forward. Like one of my favorite quotes is by George Patton, and he says, if you're not gaining ground, you're losing ground. And I believe that to be true in life, and I believe it to be true in business. And for me, it doesn't matter what business I'm involved in, that is the vehicle that this keeps me pushing forward.
And actually, that brought up memories of when I started my entrepreneurship journey. And the dream was around 5 years ago, start network marketing, have the laptop lifestyle, retire. And then 5 years later, you actually realise it's not really a goal to retire because it's like, and do what? You would just be at home bored, and you realise it's just an ongoing journey and your business becomes part of who you are. I would like to know, Bryan, what sets your business apart and what unique need are you filling for your clients and customers?
Yeah, that's a really insightful question because I think it doesn't matter what business you're in. You need to be asking yourself that on a daily basis. It is what is my value proposition as a business? What is it sets us apart? The thing you need to be asking yourself and that we ask ourselves is, if my ideal prospect comes up against my product, why would they do business with me rather than anybody else? And so constantly reassessing that and understanding what is it that you do better than the other options out there in the marketplace? What is it that you as a service or as a product do better than your competition is something that you always have to be coming back to. And so for us, we have focused on one thing. We are the easiest way in the world to hire a lawn mowing service to come cut your grass within 24 hours, even if your grass is 4 feet tall. There is simply no other solution that is easier, quicker, more reasonably priced than our product. Now, if we had focused on, okay, well, this is the thing that you can use for landscaping and maid service and lawn mowing and yard seeding and all of these different services that we could offer solutions to, we wouldn't be the world's best at this one thing. So for us, a strategic kind of philosophy that we have is focus on one thing and just do it better than anybody else in the world. And that's what we've done, and it's worked for us. It's taken some discipline because there's a lot of things that we could do, but we constantly are coming back to, okay, how do we make the ability to find a good lawn mowing service to come mow your yard the same day or the next day as easy and cost effective as possible? We are always just working on that one problem. We've been working on it for 7 years. And for us, that is kind of our competitive advantage, is that we're the only game in town that is really focused on this one thing and making it as easy and as inexpensive as possible.
And that's the way to do it, solving problems. I agree with you totally there, Bryan. And I also would like to ask, because I'm sure some of our listeners will be interested to learn more, what areas do you cover? Where is this service based, Bryan?
As of right now, we're live in every major city and state in the United States. It wasn't always that way. The first 3 years, we were only in Nashville, Tennessee, trying to figure out how to make this thing work reliably and seamlessly. But here we are now, 6-7 years into the project. We're live in every major city in the United States. Doesn't matter where you are, we can cover you. We hope to next year expand into Canada and maybe UK, maybe Australia. But we still have a little ways to go in the United States right now.
Well, listening to your journey, I know you will get there. And actually, you answered the question before I was able to ask it. I was going to say, do you plan to go more international or just focus within the USA? And you already answered that for me. Why is your service especially important in today's modern world?
Well, I think we're in like minute one and day one of a lot of analog transactions coming online. And so more and more as every year goes by, you're going to start seeing a lot of things that you do in a more traditional sense become easier, smoother, and more seamless through technology. And so we're in that kind of realm of activity. And so I think as time goes on, you're going to start seeing people look to technology, smartphones, apps to just get everything done. It doesn't matter what it is you're doing, like hiring a wedding photographer or hiring a plumber or hiring a lawn mowing service or whatever it is. You're not going to want to make a phone call anymore. You're not going to want to dial for dollars anymore. You're just going to look for a technological solution to your problem. So in the macro sense, that's kind of where we sit. In a micro and like zooming in, we're sitting here in the middle of COVID. Contactless ordering and a way to do commerce without having to meet with people face to face, I think is accelerating at warp speed right now. And we've seen that in our business. You would think going through a economic recession that we would be having a down year, but we're actually growing in the midst of this because people are looking for technology as a way to do contactless ordering. And so Uber Eats and DoorDash and Postmates, these companies are having huge years, and we're kind of riding that wave as well because nobody really wants to meet with a landscaper and walk around the yard and negotiate with them face to face. They really would just rather just put their address in an app and just get it done the next day and not have to talk to anybody. And that's really the solution we offer. So in a broader sense, there's a macro trend, but there's also a micro trend that we're kind of benefiting from, luckily.
Can you just share with our listeners a few more details on the kind of service and products you offer?
Yeah, so when you come to GreenPal, it does one thing, and it does it better than any other solution in the world. It's getting you a good lawn mowing service fast at a great price. After that lawn mowing goes well, you can rate them, and you'll pay them right through the app. And then if you liked how it went, you can set them up for a routine lawn mowing service for the rest of the growing season. Typically, that's every week or every 2 weeks. And then after that goes well, you can then add on additional yard maintenance that you might need to get done around your house. Things like pruning your shrubbery around your house, adding mulch to your landscaping beds. If you live in a climate that gets snow, you can add snow plowing. So there are these related services that go into exterior maintenance for your home that you can use GreenPal to get done. What we have found is if we make all of those accessible on the front end, on the home page, or on the home screen of your app, then the user kind of gets confused and they suffer from the paradox of choice. And we find that we're not really a good solution to anybody then. So on the front end, when a user comes to our platform, we focus on this one thing. Let's get you a great lawn mowing service set up, mowing your yard on a routine basis at a great price. And then then we can look at all these other 5 or 6 services that you're going to need to get done around the house that you can also add on with a touch of a button.
Now, I know, Bryan, you have lots and lots of client success stories. What is one that really stands out to you?
We, it's hard to say because there's hundreds over the years, right? But one that stands out was a lady in Atlanta, Georgia, that had just gotten started in the lawn mowing business and signed up for our platform as a way to kind of grow her business. This was back in 2015. And back in those days, I personally had a relationship with every single lawn service that used the platform. They all had my cell phone number. I would talk to them on a routine basis, just answering questions, talking about bugs and things that they wish that the platform would do, and just learning about how we could better solve their problems. So back in those days, I had a personal relationship, and still do, with hundreds of lawn mowing services all over the southeastern United States. But this one particular lady stands out because she had just gone through a divorce, and she wanted, for some reason, to be in the lawn mowing business, which is not typically a business that is female dominated. But man, she crushed it. Their first year, she went from like 2 customers to over 100, and was just rocking. And then I think by year 2, she had like 5 people working for her, all in the landscaping business, and the majority of her business was through the GreenPal platform. So that stands out to me as a story that was just a lot of fun to be a part of. It was a lot of fun to drive her new clientele, to get her business humming. And then also like the symbiotic relationship that she and I had in terms of her telling me what she wished the product would do, features that she wished it had. It was it still is a symbiotic relationship in terms of like win-win. It's like, okay, if your business is growing and you're making money and you're prospering, then GreenPal is prospering. And that was a lot of fun, and that still is why we do what we do.
I love a success story, and what I did like about that, Bryan, I would have just imagined, which is very, very naive of me, that it's predominantly men. And what I liked about that story is it's actually a female who has built this business. So that's really opened my eyes that obviously it's for men and women, and that cutting lawns is for both as well.
Absolutely. In fact, we find on a statistical basis, our female-led vendors typically perform better in terms of customer satisfaction and revenue made on the platform. There's fewer of them. We wish there were more, but on an individual basis, they typically outperform their male counterparts.
Well, I'm glad you're a cheerleader for women in business. I am too. Now, how do clients typically hear about you, and are there certain life moments that would usually lead to them seeking you out?
Yeah, so there's 3 main ways that homeowners come to find out about the platform. One is word of mouth. Somebody else has used it, and friend from church or in the neighborhood, and they had a success with it, and so they tell somebody about it. The next way is through somebody just is got their grass is 3-4 feet tall. They've called 3 or 4 people. They can't get a phone call back. They usually, as a last resort to Google, and they'll say, "I need a lawn mowing service near me." And they'll type that in, and then GreenPal has positioned itself to where we'll be in that conversation. We'll be somewhere in the top 5 results, no matter where you're at in the United States. And then you'll come to GreenPal's homepage, and you'll say, you'll read the headline, "Get a lawn mowing service to come cut your grass tomorrow." And yeah, it'll be intriguing to you, and you'll say, "Okay, well, let me try this thing out. I've never heard of it." You sign up in less than 60 seconds, and then you're like, "Wow, man, I've got 5 bids back from lawn mowing services in my neighborhood. I might as well hire one of these." They come out and mow the same day or the next day. That's typically the user journey from not knowing what GreenPal is to becoming a happy GreenPal user. The other way that people come to find out about the platform is through PR. So that's a big part of what we do. One of my co-founders is that's all he does is PR, doing interviews all over the country. Typically you'll find him on a plane in an airport somewhere, just grinding it out, doing interviews on local TV stations somewhere in the country, talking about GreenPal, talking about success that our lawn mowing service providers have on the platform, talking about how we offer a convenience to homeowners. And that's probably where 30% of our customers come from, is just seeing a story in the newspaper or seeing a story on TV about the platform and how it's coming to their town.
And there's a great story behind your business, and like you say, you're getting the PR, which keeps you visible, and Google as well. Bryan, I have really enjoyed a conversation with you today. I really admire the success you've achieved, the people that you are serving, the business that you have built. Is there anything that we did not cover that you would like to share?
It's been a great interview, and I love doing these because I just love sharing my experiences. And if anybody got any help and value out of this, that makes me happy. The only thing I would add is, if you're listening to this in the middle of COVID and the economic recession that we're in right now, my advice is just don't give up. Look for any way to keep your business afloat. Look for anything you can do to not go out of business, because if you can survive through this, and like take your company or take your business down to the studs and rebuild it from the inside out, believe it or not, you'll come out stronger. And 5 years from now, you'll almost in a weird way be glad it happened to you. So that would be my advice. Anybody listening to this right now is just to hunker down, grind it out, and this thing will pass, and you'll come out as a better business owner at the end of it.
Bryan, that is a really, really nice way to end the show and really uplifting. My last question, how can everyone connect with you? How can people reach out if they're interested in your services?
Yeah, anybody listening to this that doesn't want to spend their weekend mowing their grass, they can just download GreenPal in the App Store or the Google Play Store. Anybody that wants to reach me personally, I love helping entrepreneurs and small business owners. You can just email me, Bryan, Bryan, at yourgreenpal.com. And when you email me, try to put me on second or third base with what your business is and what your specific question is, and I can kind of help answer any questions that you might have based on my experience.
Bryan, thank you so much for our conversation today. I've really enjoyed having you as a guest.
Hey, I had a good time too. Thanks for having me on.
It's my pleasure. You have been listening to the Brilliance Business Show, conversations with leading experts in business.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.